Welcome everyone to my new YouTube channel, and this is the very first video I've ever done in my life. Literally, I've never done this before, so this is something very exciting, and everyone go easy on me. Well, just kidding. My name is Vijir, and I'm starting a couple of different YouTube series on this channel. And the first series I want to start off with is talking about chess. Now, you might be asking yourself, why do I want to talk about chess? Well, chess is something I'm very passionate about. I've been playing since I was 4 years old. I'm 29 right now, and I've been really getting into it again. So I noticed that in this day and age, there's a lot of YouTube content, a lot of mainstream out there online involving chess, but I noticed that there's not that much content variety. So I'll give you an example. You search a YouTube video about chess, and the most common YouTube video you'll get is either analyzing chess, analyzing a famous game, giving commentaries, teaching chess about positions, moves, etc. Really technical aspects of it. And what I discovered is that there's really no other side of that spectrum of people talking about chess in different ways. And what I mean by it is that I'm going to start off a new YouTube series for chess. Specifically, this is the first video, and I'm going to call it The Heart of Chess. Now, you're probably thinking, what is the heart of chess? How does the heart relate to chess? Well, I'll share that with you, but not right now. I have a lot of content, I'll have a lot of ideas available in regards to this, and you're going to see more of it as I continue on throughout the next few days. So the first question you need to ask yourself is, who is this guy? Who am I? Why am I doing this? Well, I'll definitely tell you what I'm not. I'm not a titled player. I'm not a grandmaster, national master, FM, IM, anything like that. My ELO isn't really that strong. I'm about between 2,000 to 2,100, although I haven't played chess competitively in a long time, so I'm a little rusty. My opening knowledge is a little bit lacking, etc. I'm not that strong when it comes to discussing games while playing. I haven't really developed that skill yet, but eventually I will one day. So, and there's definitely a lot more people out there in YouTube that have much more knowledge than I do and can definitely analyze way better and more accurately than I do. So those are definitely the things I'm not. But what I do have is I do have an ability to articulate information and expand on that in order to relate to any audience. I'm very strong with communication. My background is actually public speaking, so I really get a lot off that. And what I can do is I can really talk about subjects in a different variety of ways that makes things interesting. And to some people, hopefully you that's listening right now, that might be something that is refreshing, that might come out as different than the standard norm. And that's what I'm really trying to focus on. The next question you're probably thinking is, why do you want to get into YouTube and talk about chess? Because there's so much chess that's being talked about. What makes you stand out? What really drives you? And what really drove me was two situations that happened in my life. It's quite interesting. And they actually kind of happened recently. They were last couple of months. The first situation actually started off from Uber. Now, what are you thinking? You're probably thinking, how does Uber relate to chess? That's crazy. And yeah, it is kind of crazy, but this is a true story. It really did happen to me. And I'm really happy to share it with everyone. So I was doing Uber. It was around, I believe, late October. And I picked up someone named Nick. Now, Nick and I, we were just chatting randomly. We were talking about security, etc. He has a background in security that's different than my background in security. So we got into a line of interest. So while we're halfway there, I'm dropping him off at his parents. He asked me this question: what are your interests? So I talked about public speaking, I talked about other movies I like, and then out of nowhere, I decided to say chess. Now, when I said chess, just imagine someone's eyes lighting up like as though they just won the lottery. That's what this guy did. That's what Nick did. He just went, "Are you kidding me? I absolutely love chess." So he talks about how he follows chess and he's really into it, and his favorite player is Gary Kasparov and Magnus Carlsen, etc. And then he talks about how he's really not that strong of a player. He's like a 1600 rated ELO, which don't get me wrong, that's a good achievement to have that level of play because you're a lot better than a lot of other people, but you're not so good as the stronger players. But he always follows it, and he really got into it. So then he asked, "What's your ELO? How long have you played?" And I said, "Well, I'm very passionate. I consider myself a pretty decent to stronger player than at least the regular norm. Although there's a lot of people that are better than me, and I used to play in tournaments. I talked about how I played when I was in 16. I was playing in Ontario provincial finals. I used to teach chess with 4 or 5 year olds in the University of Toronto, Arundel College. So I really know how to articulate and really focus on aspects of chess that person can develop, which is tactical thinking, critical thinking, confidence, etc." So then he asked me, "Have you ever taught chess before to adults?" And then he kind of went, hopefully you know where this is going." And I said, "Yeah, I did, but I haven't done it in a while." And he said that when I was in the U.S., I had a grandmaster train me. I can't remember the name of the grandmaster. He just said it really quick, but it didn't really stick. And he paid him 150 an hour to learn from this grandmaster for 1 hour. And this grandmaster, he gave him a lot of knowledge, but he didn't really play uh, with Nick some chess, which I think for Nick's style of learning, that's how he learns more, by actually doing, not necessarily listening. And again, this kind of proves to the point that although players are very strong, that doesn't mean they can teach effectively, because there's a lot of aspects to training that one needs to know in order to be able to teach someone and deliver knowledge and make them understand it. So that's a whole other aspect as well that chess can't really teach. It's kind of a people person thing. So Nick says that he didn't really learn that much, even though this guy's a grandmaster and the guy charged 150 an hour, which is that's a really high rate. So he asked me, would you be interested in teaching me chess?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely. I'll do it." And this was not because I wanted to get paid or anything. This was because there was this guy here that really enjoyed chess, and I really enjoy chess, and I'd be happy to teach anyone chess because that's how passionate about chess I am. And I think all of you that are listening here right now, you understand how that feels. There's this certain sense of passion that in chess that you just want to play and get into, and really look forward to that. So he tells me that, "How much do you want me to pay you?" To this point, well, I'm driving him home, and I was thinking, "Whoa, you want to pay me, someone who's not a national master or anything, to teach you chess?" So I told him, "You know what? You don't have to pay me, but pay me anything you want. It doesn't matter to me. I'll be happy to teach you chess for free if you want." And this is where he kind of stunned me. He went, "Nah, I can't do that. How about this? Give me 2 hours of your time tomorrow, and I'll give you the same amount of money that I gave this grandmaster." So if you do the quick math, he's basically telling me I'll give you $300 if you do 2 hours of chess with me. And I was stunned. I couldn't believe what I heard. And I said, "No, you don't have to do that, man. I'll do it for free." And he kind of sensed my humility in a way. So I think it kind of insisted him more to say that, because he kept saying, "No, I insist, man. Let me give you 150 an hour. We'll play for a couple hours, and you just teach me chess." And I said, "Wow!" I was so shocked. I was so stoked, etc. I went home immediately. I went on Lee Chess and Chess.com, and I played 100 Blitz games just to refresh my knowledge and openings. I have all these older chess books that I started going through because I haven't done this in a while, right? And if someone pays you 150 an hour, you work your butt off to do it at the top of your game, your ability. I guarantee if everyone was paying 150 an hour to do our job, you would come in, hair shaved, um, blouse trimmed, whatever, shoes shined, suit, whatever. You know what I mean. You'll be coming in like you're getting paid 150 an hour, like $1 million, and that's true because that's very motivating. When it really works that way. So I went through a lot of different chess books. I saw him the next day. I picked him up, and we went to some town place where there was a lot of like fresh food there, and he paid for my lunch first thing, and I'm still stunned. So we stayed for over 4 hours, and I enjoyed every second of it teaching him chess. And he only paid me 300. He didn't pay me extra, and I didn't care because I just wanted to stay there, and I was very motivated by his kindness. And we were talking about chess, and we played at least 6 games. And within those 6 games, I was able to show him a lot of different aspects of chess. But the thing that was most rewarding was, in his mind, the most rewarding part was the simple articulation of certain moves in his gameplay that really got him to learn. So, for example, I remember there was a situation where uh, I wish I wish I can remember the exact game, but it regarded a sequence involving the A3 pawn and why you should wait till it's played rather than take the knight with the bishop on b4. So, for example, white would play knight c3, black would play bishop b4 after like a couple moves of development, and then he had a tendency, Nick, where he would just take the knight without waiting for the a3 pawn to be pushed. And I told him that you should wait until the a3 pawn is pushed, or if you see a situation like a tactical or a strategic situation where you can take advantage of. And he didn't understand why. And I said the reason why is because if you take the knight on c3 without any actual gain, you lose tempo, which is really important in the very early game. And this is stuff that I explained to him that he just understood basically. I didn't want to go into like high level advanced reasons because obviously, and hint hint, this is what I'm going to talk about later on, is that there's very different levels of play in different ELO. And some of you will experience it, and some of you haven't seen that level yet, and some of you already understand that level and literally are in that level. So you can understand. Like I'm going to explain that bridge and that understanding. But I talked about how A3 is kind of important for having them push it out because if A3 is out, then the spot on B3 gets weakened, and that could be taken as a focus later on. And when I explained that to him, his eyes lit up because just from something so simple, and that's the coolest thing about teaching. Because in your mind, you might think, it's just simple, it's standard stuff, but to someone else, it's the most mind blowing thing ever. So after that situation, after all the games we played, I gave him one of my favorite chess books, which was, if I'm sure if you look it up in Chapters or Indigo or whatever bookstore you have, you can find it. But it was the top 50 games of chess of all time. And I remember reading this when I was like 15, 16. And I remember like my playing strength went from like 1500 to like 1900 just by analyzing the top 50 games at that time in history and understanding how the grandmasters did their train of thought. So I gave him that book, and it just one of those TV series where, and I know this is gonna sound really weird, but like when the couple like breaks off and like whatever, the guy or the girl goes over to their house, and before they do anything, they stop and then they look back. That's what he did. It was hilarious. He looked back while I was about to leave, and then he looked back part at his house. I mean, he looked back at his house, and he took the book and he looked at it, and then he just like nodded, like he was satisfied. And that was the most satisfying thing I've ever done in like involving chess. If I could deliver that type of satisfaction to any of you with any of my content at all, I am happy. That's all that matters. So that's definitely the first reason as to why I wanted to start this YouTube series. Now, the second reason is actually involving Reddit. Yes, I'm giving a shout out to you, Reddit Chess. You are being recognized, and trust me, it's really important because I didn't realize there was a Reddit Chess which is sad because I usually go on Reddit to read about news and a lot of articles, etc. But I never really thought about chess. So I started reading about chess. I was like a lurker, and I started commenting a little bit. My ID is Vegir there, so you'll notice me now and then. But what really struck my mind was I was reading a thread that was being started off in Reddit chess, and it was started off literally 2 months ago. And the title of it was "What Every Chess YouTuber Should Know." And it was started by a user, and here's a shout out to him. I don't know if I can pronounce this right, but so bear with me. It's French Crazier. Oh man, I'm really bad with butchering names. So he started this thread, and it had all this information. And basically, it talked about how a lot of YouTubers do this one thing, and I wish YouTubers can do all these other different aspects. And sometimes, like what I believe in life is that there's always one person that can make a difference. I call them the game changer. And sometimes it just takes the right person to articulate something to you, and then you just get it, you understand it, and you'll roll with it. And there was one part where it was this section here that I'm going to read it real quick right now. And he talks about, are you a master or a 2005 USCF player and you don't have a YouTube channel? Why the heck not? You'd be surprised at how many people make YouTube videos and they're awful at it, and some of them are beloved. And then he said this following line: I don't think you realize how some people are just waiting for that next YouTube video by their favorite master or player, and in the meantime, they're just waiting. And to me, that was kind of the call to action that resonated inside of me, that I decided, you know what, let me start this. And that's how it usually is. It's usually all that doubt that makes you prevent you to want to do something. But then when you get past that, you realize that you just started something great. So I hope that this is like kind of like my calling to begin this. And who knows, this actually might reignite my passion in chess, and maybe I might want to become a very competitive chess player and go for a norm, etc. So that's the two main reasons of why I'm doing this. I know it's kind of a long-winded story, but I think it's kind of important that whenever we encounter these situations involving people, and in this case it was two completely random strangers, that's kind of what really inspires you the most. So how my schedule is going to be is I'm going to be focusing on creating one video a day, which is quite aggressive, but I like the challenge and I have a lot of ideas, so I'm definitely going to work on it. In terms of editing, YouTube editing, etc., I'm very limited. I don't have that. I have a good computer with good editing programs, etc., but I'm still learning how to do those editings. So right now the content's going to be kind of linear visually. However, later on, as I get more comfortable and I get feedback from all of you that's listening and watching, that's what's going to make a difference, and you'll see the evolution from there. So the last thing I want to say is, well, two things. Number one, please leave feedback. Please comment on the video below. I read everything. I'll reply to everything. Send me messages. I'll reply. If you need help with chess, I'll help you too. I have no problem with that. But the second part is that I'll never ask you to subscribe. And I think the reason I will never ask you to subscribe is because I feel as though if you get anything out of anything I say, if you understand something a little bit better, a little bit more deeper, you enjoy anything of that nature, that will move you alone, and that'll make you subscribe on itself. So that's my goal, is to produce good content. And I guess the only thing I would ever ask from all of you folks is to give me a chance. And I think that really matters the most. Till then, have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow.